Fallout 1 and 2 were two of the greatest role-playing games from the 90s. They laid down the foundation for role-playing games for generation to come and spawned a franchise which is popular throughout the world. Today I'm going to try turning Fallout New Vegas into the classic Fallout games with the help of mods. From changing how the buildings look to adding features from the original games, we have much to do. So without any more delays, let's get started. Let's start off by changing the interface first. I have two options for that. The first is MEX Series Interface Overhaul's Classic preset. It changes the on-screen HUD with this classic-inspired one. It also has this Doom typeface in the middle that changes depending upon what you're doing. Also, the notifications now come in the bottom left-hand screen like in the classic games. However, the problem with this mod is that it only covers the on-screen HUD and not the menus such as talking or trading menus. They look way more modern and doesn't mesh well with the HUD. This is where the second option comes. Revelation. UI is the opposite of MUX Series Interface Overhaul. It changes most of the menus in the game with classic Fallout ones, but keeps the on-screen HUD same as vanilla. Also, if you're going to use this mod, then I also recommend using Revelation UI Extras collection that changes even more menus into the Fallout 1 and 2 style menus. Now, I usually suggest some weather mods in this category, but I think vanilla New Vegas weather is fine for this mod list. You can use Western Sky or Altitude if you want, but I think vanilla New Vegas weather is good enough for this video. Next, we are going to change the world by adding classic style buildings or replacing existing locations with classic style buildings into the game. Classic Adobe buildings in Mojave changes a number of locations in the game by making them look like classic Fallout locations. It doesn't just replace existing buildings with Adobe buildings. Most of the time, it completely changes the layout of these places, like how the NCR Embassy has a beautiful courtyard now. Personally, I love this style of buildings. There's just something so comforting about it. Of course, the changes are not limited to only the exteriors. All interiors have also been changed. Classic 188 Trading Post similarly changes the 188 Trading Post area by replacing the tents and shacks with Adobe buildings. It not only covers the trading post itself, but also covers the nearby NCR barrack and the gun runners. The gun runners were just some guys under the bridge before, but now they have an actual building. No Sleep Till Good Springs does similar changes to Good Springs. The interiors are heavily detailed and filled with pots and mats and other stuff. Classic Adobe Sloan similarly changes the town of Sloan. Look, even Snuffles has a house now. Diegonom's been making these Adobe building mods for quite a while now, and if I list all of his mods here, then this video will be 1 hour long. So I recommend you checking his whole profile out. He also made some Adobe-style player homes. One of them is Centurion Homestead, which is a Legion player home. It looks great from the outside and is even better from the inside. When you first enter the home, you will see graffitis all over the place. You have to answer a question to remove it, but if you doesn't know anything about Roman Empire like me, then you will have to get 100 Abraxo Cleaner and 100 Turpentine to remove it. The player home is really nice, and although it doesn't make sense that the Legion will have that much money to build something like that, I don't really care. There's also a Roman-style gazebo outside the place, which is nice too. There's also a Followers safe house, a Raider safe house, and a Brotherhood safe house, and a Neutral safe house. As I said, check out his profile if you are interested in these Adobe-style mods. For weapon mods, I recommend the classic Fallout weapons remastered. This mod adds a heap of weapons from the classic Fallout games into New Vegas. All of them perfectly recreate their classic counterparts. This mod makes me appreciate just how well designed the classic weapons were. All of the weapons look unique, and the ones that are unique look even better. Of course, huge props to Web Productions Entertain for making these weapons. Just like Diegonom, he's making classic-inspired mods for a while now. This includes weapons, armors, and creatures. One thing you might have noticed that all of these weapons have KNVSC animations. Classic Fallout Weapons Remastered Animations animates every single weapon from the CFWR mod. This mod is so underrated and only have 117 endorsements, which is wild to me. Next, we're going to take a look at some classic-inspired armor and clothing mods. Classic Pack Lore Accurate Vault 13 Jumpsuit Replacer replaces the Vault 13 jumpsuit from the Classic Pack DLC with the iconic Fallout 1 jumpsuit. This mod also adds the iconic 10mm pistol and the knife, which is great too. Next is the Classic Fallout 2 Armor Collection by the Molten Clouds team. These mods add various Fallout 2 armors into the game. All of them have high-resolution textures, and you can see even the smallest of details clearly. My personal favorite is the Tesla armor. I really like both the chest design and the helmet. My least favorite of them is the Brotherhood combat armor, which has those blue outlines that I don't really like. I do like the Brotherhood light armor though. Classic leather armor replacer. For leather armor does what it says. To be honest, I prefer the vanilla leather armor design way more than the classic one. It also has a reinforced version which looks better, but I still think that the vanilla design is better and fits the wasteland better. What I do prefer, however, is more classic Fallout outfits. It adds a bunch of clothing from the classic games and all of them fit into New Vegas perfectly. I hope he adds even more classic outfits such as these in the future. Next is the Pip-Boy, and the answer should be obvious. Just go and download the Pip-Boy 2000 mod by Molten Clouds, right? Well, my monkey brain completely missed it, and I thought there was no classic Pip-Boy mod on Nexus. So I was going to give you the option to choose between the Pip-Boy 2000 Mark VI or the Pip-Boy 2500A ARM-mounted Pip-Boy, but then I discovered it during editing the video. So you will see me wearing either the Pip-Boy 2000 Mark VI or the 2500A during the whole video, but I do recommend the Pip-Boy 2000. Classic Super Mutant style armor replaces the Super Mutant armors with OG ones. I do prefer these over vanilla, but I don't know if it's because I have played the game for ages now, or is it because they have really good design. But did you notice the faces of the Super Mutants? Menace of the New West changes the Super Mutants to resemble their classic counterparts. Marcus doesn't stick out like a sore thumb anymore. This doesn't just change their models, but also change a few animations. The minigun and the missile launcher wielding mutants can now wield those weapons with one hand, which makes them much more menacing. Similarly, Horrors of the New West changes the Deathclaw models and replaces them with their Fallout 1 and 2 counterparts. I do think they look less menacing than the New Vegas Deathclaws though. Web Productions Entertainment has made a bunch of classic creature mods. Some of the standouts include Classic Robobrain, Classic Mr. Handy, and Mr. Gutsy, Classic Centaur, and much more. I don't even know why they changed their style. They look so much better in Fallout 1 and 2. Music plays a huge role when it comes to making you feel a certain way. High-quality classic music replacer replaces the classic tracks with their high-quality versions. Classic XP sound changes the sound when you gain experience. Classic level up sounds does the same for the level up sound. Next are two mods that add back two of your companions from Fallout 2. Classic Goris is the talking Deathclaw companion from Fallout 2. You can find him at Jacob's Town at Dr. Henry's lab. You can recruit him after you finish the Unfriendly Persuasion quest. Combat-wise, he plays like a regular Deathclaw, and as such, completely obliterates the opponent. The only negative is there's no voice acting, which might be a deal breaker for some people. Marcus Companion lets you recruit Marcus as your companion after you finish both Unfriendly Persuasion and Guess Who I Saw Today. His voice lines are made up using splicing in-game voice files, so it can sound a bit off sometimes.
If Kaisar or anybody else is looking to attack Jacobstown, they'll regret it.
Combat-wise, he uses a minigun but can use a super sledge if told. He gives you an emergency radio which you can use to call him anytime from wait position. I couldn't put these next few mods in a particular category, so I'm going to put them in the miscellaneous category. Classic Driven Death Panel adds Fallout 1 style death screens into New Vegas.
The darkness of the afterlife is all that awaits you now. May you find more peace in that world than you found in this one.
This next one is not a mod, but a tweak. Assuming that most of you have Stewie AL's tweaks, I recommend using the no skill tag tweak that turns off all the skill and perk prefixes for dialogues. Now they appear like in the classic games.
Thank you, sir. You may proceed.
Classic Traits brings back 5 traits from the original games: the Bruiser, Chem Reliant, Chem Resistant, Finesse, and Jinxed. The last mod in this list is Repairable and Drivable Chrysalis Highwayman. Upon interacting with the Highwayman, a pop-up opens telling you that it can be fixed with some kind of cell controller. So being the absolute legend I am, I used cheats to get it immediately. Anyway, the Highwayman feels great to drive with actual suspension. Of course, it's still the new Vegas engine, so the game can bug out sometimes, but it's impressive nonetheless. Of course, there's a catch. You have to install the Frontier as this mod requires that to function. So if you want to drive then you have to download a 10 GB mod. And that's it. My mod list for a classic inspired playthrough in New Vegas. Of course, let me know if I missed any mods in the comment. And with that said, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.